Namaste, my dear students. This is Mallikarjuna, Assistant Professor in Commerce, working in GBR Degree College and PG Center, Huvin Hadagali. Welcoming you all to this online class. Today, I am going to explain on the subject Cost Accounting Part 2, which is prescribed by the Vijayanagar Sri Krishna Devaraya University, Bellary, for BCom 6th semester. The syllabi of Cost Accounting Part 2 consists of 5 models. They are: number 1, unit costing; number 2, operating costing; number 3, contract costing; number 4, process costing; and the last one is marginal costing. Now let me explain the third model of Cost Accounting Part 2, that is contract costing. Let us understand the contract costing with a brief introduction. There is no single or universal method of costing to ascertain cost of production and the result of any business. For different industries, different methods of costing have been devised to suit the requirements. So that's why there is no one single type or one common method of cost accounting which is used by all industries. Let us know the meaning of contract costing. What exactly the meaning of contract costing? Contract costing is one of the methods of costing. This method of costing is used by undertakings or companies or industries which carry out the work of construction. Constructions work like constructing buildings, construction of roads, construction of bridges, dams, and construction of ships, etc. So in case of contract costing, basically a contract is an agreement between the two parties. So there will be a parties to this contract, and there are two parties in each contract. One is a contractor, another one is contractee. Who is a contractor? A contractor is a person who undertakes the work of construction. Contractee, who is a contractee? A contractee is a person for whom the construction work is done for some price. With example, I will tell you, there is Mr. X and there is Mr. Y. X is going to construct a house building for Mr. Y. In this case, X is going to be the contractor and Y is going to be the contractee. So this contract costing has got some unique features. They are: number 1, contracts are nothing but a big job cost. First, let us know, what do you mean by job cost? Job cost or job costing is nothing but ascertaining of cost of an individual job or work or a project. But in case of job costing, it takes less time. But in case of this contract costing, they look similar, but contract costing is also nothing but job costing, but it is a big job cost compared to simple job cost. Next, there are, and usually these contracts are being undertaken for a longer period. The period of contract or the project to be completed takes usually more than a year, maybe 4 years, 6 years, maybe 10 years. For each contract, a number is given for identity. It is necessary for the contractor who is going to start different works of contract in different locations. To distinguish and to identify the which contract is going on in which location, he has to give a number to each contract, like contract number 1, contract number 2, contract number T, to identify and distinguish. As I told you, a separate account is being opened for each contract so as to ascertain a result of each contract. Absolutely, it is necessary for the contractor to know at the end of the year what is the result of each contract. So in order to know the result of each contract, he is going to maintain a separate account for each contract, and thereby is going to ascertain the result of each contract. So he is going to open separate account for every contract. In case of contract costing, the contract price is there. Contract price is nothing but it is the reward or the consideration which will be paid by the contractee to the contractor. That contract price will be paid to the contractor not in a single stretch, it will be paid in installments. So contracts are carried out away from the contractor premises. Usually contractor office or contractor premises will be in one place, and the contract works will be taken in different localities or in different locations. We'll move to the next. Certain important terminologies are being used in contract costing. First one is the contract price. What is contract price? Contract price is the total price or the consideration payable by the contractee to the contractor for doing construction work. Usually, the total contract price is not paid in lump sum, but it is paid in installment. So, this contract price is nothing but the consideration or the reward paid by the contractee to the contractor for undertaking of some work. Work in progress. What is this work in progress? Usually, the contracts do take long time for completion. The contractor will close his accounts every year to know the total cost and notional profit. The portion of the work done on a particular date is considered as a work in progress. In simple, what do you mean by work in progress? It means the work started but not yet completed. It is in progress. So, work in progress includes the two components. One is value of work certified and the other one is value of work uncertified on a particular date. So, next term is work. Come to the next word, work certified. What do you mean by work certified? It means work completed by the contractor and approved or certified by the contractee or architectee or engineer. That is called work certified. What is work uncertified? It means it is that part of the work which is actually done by the contractor but not certified by the architect or contractee. So, work certified and work uncertified will be taken in work in progress. So, in doing contract, there are chances of abnormal loss. Of course, you know very well, there is a risk of loss in every part of business and every walk of life also. So, in the same way, there are chances of abnormal loss in case of contract costing. If any material, plants, tools, etc. are damaged or lost by theft or by accident, earthquake, etc., such loss is called as abnormal loss, and abnormal loss is to be credited to contract account. See, the contractor must be very careful, or the accountant must be very careful that this abnormal loss should not affect on the total cost of contract. And next is retention money. It is a portion of value of work certified which will not paid by the contractee and will be retained with him for a separate or for a specific period is called retention money. Come to the notional profit. Notional profit is also called as a nominal profit. It is not realized profit, yet to be realized. So, any profit earned on incomplete contract is known as a notional profit, also called as nominal profit. It arises in case of incomplete contracts. The entire notional profit in incomplete contract should not be transferred to profit and loss account. A portion of it is to be taken to profit and loss account depending upon the stage of completion of work. So there are chances of calculating certain missing things. In problem, sometimes the value of work certified may not be given. So we have to find out this value of work certified, because usually when we are going to take the work in progress in contract account, we are supposed to know the two values or the two components, that is work certified and work uncertified. So if the work uncertified is not given in the problem, we have to calculate by making use of this formula. If the percentage of cash received is given, then work certified is calculated as cash received upon percentage of cash received. If the information is different, that if percentage of work certified is given, then work certified will be total contract price into percentage of work certified. Come to the notional profit. So notional profit is not the final profit nor the net profit. As I told you, the entire amount of notional profit should not be taken to the general profit and loss account. A portion or a part of it is to be taken to the profit and loss account. That depends upon the stage of completion of the contract. Let us discuss this in detail. The stage of completion of contracts and the amount or the portion of the profit to be taken to the profit and loss account, I have made in 3 cases. Come to the case number 1. If the contract completed is less than 1/4, then no profit should be transferred to the profit and loss account. So if the contract completion is less than 25%, then no profit should be taken to the profit and loss account. Case number 2. If the contract completed is 1/4, that is 25% or more, but less than half, that is 50%, then only 1/3 of the notional profit is to be transferred to the profit and loss account. For transferring of this 1/3 of the notional profit, the following formula is being used. Profit to be taken to P&L account is equal to notional profit into 1/3 into cash received upon work certified. And come to the next case number 3. If the contract completed is half or more but less than 3/4, then 1/3 of the notional profit is to be transferred to profit and loss account. The profit to be taken to P&L account is equal to notional profit into 2/3 into cash received upon work certified. Stop. Come to the preparation of contract account. How the contract account will be prepared by the contractor. So this is the format of contract account. So this contract account is basically a nominal account in nature. Expenses are taken on debit side and incomes are taken on credit side. First you come to the debit side of this contract account. The first item that will be taken on debit side is the material. So opening stock of material, if it is there, that will be used for this contract. First that is to be taken. And for that we have to add if there are any purchases made during the year. Then we have to add one more thing, that is if materials are received from the stores. Then we have to add one more thing, if materials have been transferred from some other contract to this contract, we have to add. So all together of this material will be taken into the outer column. And the next is direct wages. If there are outstanding also, that is to be added to this direct wages. And then is direct expenses. Then the item will come plant and machinery and overheads. And next is profit and loss account. Suppose if any profit is there on sale of material or plant and machinery, then that profit is to be taken in the contract account on debit side. And the next is if portion of this contract is given as a subcontract, that is to be taken on debit side. Then cost of extra work done, if it is given in the problem, that will come on debit side. Come to the credit side of this contract account, we have to take cash account. Suppose if there is a sale of any material and a plant of machinery is given, that is to be taken on credit side. And if any sale of material and plant and machinery, as a result of which if there is a loss, that is to be taken on credit side by writing profit and loss account on credit side. And if, as I told you while explaining this abnormal loss, if there is an abnormal loss, that is to be taken on the credit side of this contract account as by abnormal loss. Either this loss may be from plant and machinery lost or by the material lost or theft. Then material returned to store is to be taken here. Material returned to store means from the site of this contract place, if any materials are left out, if they have been returned to the stores, then that is to be taken on credit side. And if there are any material transferred to other contract from this contract, that is to be taken on credit side of this contract account. And if there are any plant and machinery that has been returned to the stores, that is to be taken here after deducting the depreciation up to the date of return. And the next is machinery transferred to other contract. Of course, these material and machinery either we can get transferred from some other contractor to this contract, or we can transfer from this contractor to some other contract. So if any material or machinery transferred to other contract, that is to be taken here after deducting the depreciation of that plant or machinery. Then if there are any material at site, that is to be taken on credit side. And if there is a plant at site, it is also to be taken on credit side after deducting the depreciation. And very important part is work in progress. So this work in progress is to be taken on credit side of this contract account. As I told you, work in progress will consist of two items or the components. One is work certified and work is uncertified. Suppose if work in progress will be taken when there is a contract is incompleted. And if the contract is completed, we have to take contractees account if contract is completed. After making all entries in the contract account, we have to find out the result. Suppose if the credit side is more than the debit side of this contract account, the result will be called as the notional profit. And if debit side is more than the credit side, then the result will be called as the loss. If there is a loss on incomplete contract, the entire loss is to be transferred to general profit and loss account. But if there is a profit, that is a notional profit, that entire notional profit should not be taken to profit and loss account. Then a part of it is to be taken to the profit and loss account, and the remaining profit is to be kept it as a reserve. So that we will learn while solving the problem. come to the last part of this discussion, balance sheet. For 15 marks question, students may be asked to prepare contract account only. Sometimes you may be asked to even prepare balance sheet also. So this is the format of the balance sheet that is being prepared in contract costing. So balance sheet, that is the right side, assets are being shown, and left side liabilities are being shown. So in the asset side, the first is work in progress is to be written. As I told you, work in progress will be consisting of two components, work certified and work uncertified. From that we have to deduct cash received. Cash received from the contractee, that will be given in the problem, and from that we have to deduct reserve also. Reserve profit, that is there in the contract account, and you have to take the total into outer column. Then land and building, that is a fixed asset. Plant and machinery we have to take here. From that, if there are any depreciation, that is to be deducted, and the remaining amount is to be shown in the outer column. In the same way, furniture and fixture, and if there is depreciation, that is to be deducted. Plant and return to stores, if there is any depreciation, that is to be deducted. And come to the current assets, cash, bank is to be shown on asset side. Sometimes if there is any insurance claim from the insurance company, that is to be taken on asset side of the balance sheet as insurance claim. And if there is any stock of material at site, stock of plant at machinery at site, then prepaid expenses, then outstanding incomes. These are all items that will come on asset side of the balance sheet. Next, come to the liability side. The first item on liability side will be share capital. After that, we have to write the profit and loss account. If last year's profit is given in the problem, we have to continue this current year profit with the last year profit. So we have to add this current year profit to the last year profit. From that, if there are any abnormal losses, and if there are any unobserved depreciation, and if there are any unobserved expenses, they have to be deducted, and the remaining balance will be taken into outer column. And the next remaining liabilities, creditors, bills payable, and outstanding expenses will be taken to the liability side. And hope this balance sheet will be tallied after completing all the items. So this is exclusively the theory discussion, how a contract account will be prepared by the contractor, and if balance sheet is also asked, then this is the format. And in coming videos we are going to discuss how exactly the contract account is being prepared and the balance sheet also prepared. Thank you very much for sparing with me. Thank you one and all.